Hello, welcome to the A to Z YouTube channel. My name is Toby Allen and I am the A in A to Z and the producer engineer in the studio. Today we're going to be talking about my top 5 amp sims that came out in 2023 in no particular order. First I want to talk about ML Sound Lab Amped Oracle. For the longest time I've been wanting a really good orange amp sim and there just wasn't one on the market until ML Sound Lab brought out Oracle, which is based on a Rockaverb 100. It's a real girthy, lovely distortion that you expect to hear in a Rockaverb. I had the opportunity to play through a real Rockaverb earlier this year, and there's something that happens when you dime the master where it just goes real saturated and borderline fuzz, which is great for kind of like doom stoner kind of sounds. While I'm a huge fan of the kind of 5150 kind of sound, it is nice sometimes to get a high gain sound that sounds modern but also has something different, a different character to it, and Orange are fantastic for that. That's why I'm a big fan of my Dark Terror amp, which I have just got fixed and are able to use again now, which is great. But the Oracle, it's got everything that you expect to hear in a real Rockaverb in a way that no other amp sim has done yet. It also got some great cab options in there as well. You got an Orange 4x12, which just sounds very, very tasty. So that's an exceptionally good amp sim. We've also got the STL Tones Tonality Josh Middleton, which is a really good amp. When it came out, it was my favorite 5150 sim. It's also got PV triple XXX. Is that 9 X's? Not sure. And it also got a nice little dual rec in there, multi-watt. All of those sound really, really great. You've got 2 different overdrives to choose from. You've got various other pedals going on as well. You've also got captures of Josh Middleton's cab collection. So I believe one of the Mesa oversize is like one serial number out from one of Andy Sneap's ones. So that's really, really cool. So be able to have that. You can really nail those kind of Silosis tones, obviously, but kind of noughties, metalcore kind of sounds, that 5150 kind of sounds and things really, really easily in that. And it sounds really great. Another one of my favorites, another ML Sound Lab one, ML800. I'm a big fan of Marshall tones, particularly JCM 800 tones. And again, I actually got the privilege of trying to use a real JCM 800 earlier this year, and the ML Sound Lab one is so close. So close, it hurts in a good way. It's really, really good. It's got that kind of karangy kind of thing that Miko refers to. It's got a nice saturation, just everything about it does exactly what you expect from a Marshall tone. And now that it's had the upgrade, it's been completely recaptured again, and it's now got the better engine, the Warner engine, so it sounds much better. And again, you've got some great cab options in there as well. Another one I really enjoyed this year is the MLC S0 from Bogan Digital. You've got lots of different effects and pedals and stuff. You've got 2 different drives in front of it. In real life, when you combine 2 pedals, if you kind of gain them too much, it goes into sort of fuzz kind of territory, and it's the only amp sim I've come across where if you stack 2 pedals like that, it does that fuzzy thing that real pedals do. So that's really cool. You've got 3 different channels on there, and you've got different switches and effects and things built into the amp for each of those channels. The way that the interface is laid out is really nice, because you only see the EQ and the controls for the channel that you're actually working on, but it recalls those when you change back to a different channel, so that's really nice. This is the first time we were introduced to IRDX by name. Of course, is actually present in the amp knob and the bass knob, but it wasn't actually specifically or explicitly mentioned until S0 came out. The 2 cabs are on there, very, very lovely sounding cabs, and with that IRDX, it kind of just gets you that extra bit of realism in the cab section, to my ears at least. A few people not a fan of it, and that's fair enough. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I do. I really enjoy it. It gives that extra sort of saturation from cones being really, really driven hard. The only thing I would say is missing for me to say this was like really, really perfect amp sim would be a chorus. On the very, very odd occasion I use a clean channel on an amp, I always want a chorus on there. So it's kind of a shame we don't have that. There's plenty of other options we can do with other plugins and stuff. Kilohertz got some great free chorus plugin, for example. The MLC S0 itself, it's been described as being like a modified Marshall kind of sound. So it's got that British kind of tone to it. And the way that it saturates is very kind of more British sounding than American sounding, even on the 6L6 settings within the amp. And that's, again, another great thing. You can change the power amp valves on there for different sounds as well, which I think is really cool. But it isn't necessarily as high gain as like a Mesa or a PV kind of amp. So I think a few people have kind of been turned off by that. But if you use the drives in front of it, you can get it into high gain territory. And Marshalls are known for high gain territory if you put a drive in front of them. So I think it's really good. And last but not least, I think this probably is my favourite, but ML amped block letter. It's just absolute perfection. Like, I feel like it's the tone I've been looking for since I first heard Ascendancy by Trivium back in 2005. So to have that now in an amp sim, and there's loads of 5150 amp sims on the market. I'm kind of joking about making a video of comparing 51 different 5150 sounds, but this is the one 5150 amp sim to rule them all. STL Tones Josh Middleton was my favourite 5150 sim until this one came out. And obviously Bogan Digital 5169 is really good as well. Obviously not as tweakable, but if you want just instant great sound, then that's really good as well. But if you want to be able to tweak a bit more, then this is my favourite one. And at the moment I've got in the studio a real 5150 on loan to me. So I've been shooting it out, been trying to basically outperform each other. So I get a tone in block letter, which I really like, and then try and beat that with the real 5150, and then try and beat that with block letter, and then try and beat that with the real amp. And it's really close. It's phenomenally close. I don't think anything really compares to me to having like that big wall of sound and a cab actually hitting you and vibrating the room, and it's just something so good about doing that when recording. But if you're not in a situation where you're able to do that, then the ML Sound Lab amped block letter is the closest you're going to get to having a real 5150 in your studio. So that wraps up 2023, my 5 favourite amp sims that came out this year. I feel like between those 5 you can conquer a lot of ground. There's you've got the Orange, you've got the Marshall, you've got the 5150, you've got the Mesa, you've got all of that covered. And a modern take on Marshall in there as well. You could pretty much get any tone you like between those 5. So it's been a good year for amp sims. I feel like ML Sound Lab has really pushed the bar. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you've seen today, then give us a thumb and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.